Okay, so I went to the U.S. Treasury sanction database. First off, didn't know that was a thing. It is in fact a thing. And what I found connects directly, and when I say directly, I mean directly, to what's happening right now. And child, listen, these aren't random countries. No, these aren't random countries at all. Like, this is it's like they're actively listed. The list was like recently updated. And like at this point, it's active listing, active updates, and the target, right? You like, girl, that seemed like heavy language. Let me pull my notes up right now. Like, look at this right here on the screen. Look at the dates, right? 2025, what, last year? And 2026, this year, right? This right now is March 2026. It's actually the 22nd of March in 2026, right? Okay, y'all see those dates, right? Oh, okay. Listed in there, you should see that's real current. What? Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. Okay? Look at this. Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. Okay? So, you can't tell me we're not getting into these receipts. But here's where it really gets interesting. Here's where it gets really interesting. These are the same countries that were listed in what? They were listed as priorities in what? Project 25. Okay? So we're not just looking at headlines. No, we're not just looking at headlines. Mm-mm. We're looking at alignment. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at alignment between like policy, planning, and posture. That's what we're looking at. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and read this to you. Check it out. In short, the PRC challenge is rooted in China's strategic culture and not just in the Marx-Leninism of the CCP, meaning that internal culture and civic society will never deliver a more normative nation. The CRP aggressive behavior can only be curbed through external pressure. Okay. The Islamic Republic of Iran. So, the ongoing protests in the Islamic Republic of Iran, which they quote as Iran, which are widely viewed as a new revolution, have shown that the Islamic regime, which has been in power since 1979 with, I'm going to butcher this name, Ayatollah Khomeini, became the leader. It is its weakest state in its history, and it is at odds not only with its own people, but also in the regional neighbors. So also with its regional neighbors. Iran is home to a proud and ancient culture, yet its people have struggled to achieve democracy and have had to endure a hostile theocratic regime that vehemently opposes freedom. The time may be right to press harder on the Iranian theocracy, support the Iranian people, and to take other steps to draw Iran into the community of free and moderate nations. Unfortunately, the Obama and Biden administration have propped up the brutal Islamic theocracy that has hurt the Iranian people and threatened nuclear war. For example, the Obama administration's 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, commonly referred to as the Iran nuclear deal, gave the Islamic regime a crucial monetary lifeline after the Green Movement protests in 2009, which, while ultimately unsuccessful, did succeed in weakening the regime and showing the world that younger Iranians want freedom. So instead of, democracy, the Obama administration threw the brutal regime an economic lifeline by giving hundreds of billions of dollars to the Iranian government and providing. This economic relief did not moderate the regime, but emboldened its brutality, its efforts to expand its nuclear weapons program, and its support for global terrorism. Former President Obama had admitted his lack of support for the Green Movement during his administration was an error and blamed it on poor advisors. Yet those same advisors are involved in the Biden administration's insistence on reducing pressure on the theocracy and resurrecting a nuclear deal. The next administration should neither preserve and repeat the mistakes of the Obama and Biden administration. The correct future policy for Iran is one that acknowledges that it is in U.S. national security interests, the Iranian people's human rights interests, and a broader global interest in peace and stability for the Iranian people to have the democratic government they demand. This decision to be free of the country's abusive leader must, of course, be made by the Iranian people, but the United States can utilize its own and other economic, diplomatic tools to ease the path towards a free Iran and renewed relationship with the Iranian people. Project 25 alignment, right? Because we know that there was a special, let's say, grouping or council that was put together with the UN, right? But even aside from that, we saw there are other pieces of news that directly align with this. With certain things, we listened to some of the speeches that were put out recent. There's some alignment that we see right here. Project 25. We're almost done, you guys. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Once a model of democracy and trust, USA, ally, and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, so we'll phrase as Venezuela, has all but collapsed under the communist regime of the late Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. In the 24 years since Hugo Chavez was first elected Venezuelan president in 1999, the country has violently cracked down on pro-democracy citizens and organizations, sharing its once oil-rich economy, empowering domestic criminal cartels, and help fuel a hemispheric refugee crisis. Venezuela has swung from being one of the most prosperous, if not the most prosperous country in South America, to being one of the poorest. Its communist leader has also drawn closer to some of the United States' greatest international foes, including the PRC and Iran, which have long sought a foothold in the Americas. Indeed, Venezuela serves as a reminder of just how fragile democratic institutions that are not maintained can be. To contain Venezuela's communism and aid international partners, the next generation must take important steps to put Venezuela's communist abusers on notice while making strides to help the Venezuelan people. Project 25 alignment. 2, it said the next administration must take important steps to put Venezuela's communist abusers on notice while making strides to help the Venezuelan people. The next administration must work to unite the hemisphere against this significant but underestimated threat in the southern hemisphere, right? Because we've been asking about the posture of certain current events and things that are happening. Why? Where's the posture? Where was the energy coming from? Well, this is a guidance document, right? The recommendation. Okay, so next section, just real quick. Russia, since we're here, let's knock out these 5. Russia. One issue today that starkly divides conservatives is the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The common ground seems to be recognition that presidential leadership in 2025 must chart the course, right? So one school of conservative thought holds that the mascot illegal war of aggression against Ukraine drags on. Russia presents major challenges to U.S. interests as well as to peace, stability, and the post-Cold War security order in Europe. This viewpoint argues for continued U.S. involvement, including military aid, economic aid, and the presence of NATO and U.S. troops if necessary. The end goal of this conflict must be the defeat of Russian President Vladimir Putin and return to pre-invasion borderlines. Another school of conservative thought denies the U.S. Ukrainian support is in the national security interest of America's law. Ukraine is not a member of NATO alliance and is one of the most corrupt nations in the region. Very strong language. European nations directly affected by the conflict should aid in the defense of Ukraine, but the U.S. should not continue its involvement. The viewpoint desires a shift into the conflict through a negotiated settlement between Ukraine and Russia. We know current events, so we know this is Project 25 aligned, right? So the tension between these competing positions has given rise to the third approach, the conservative viewpoint, the choose both isolationism and interventionism. Okay, so what we getting into these receipts? We getting into these receipts. I know you saw that. Alignment. So if you like content like this, right? You like framework, you like structure, you like some guided support and looking at some of these documents, right? Go ahead and subscribe, because that's what we do here, right? I like taking content that's kind of like, whoa, what is that? And making it highly digestible so the everyday person can just literally just look at it and understand what's going on, because we see the news, but we're not really getting the information. We're not getting the who, the what, the when, the where, the why. We're not getting the breakdown. We're not seeing how the things, the policies are actually going to impact us, right? We don't get to see those things. So my desire was to make content that would make it easily digestible, accessible, and things that people can share with other people. So hopefully, if you like this video, you're excited enough to want to comment, like, and share. Subscribe, right? Subscribe to this content so you can get updates when I'm putting out new videos. Comment so that YouTube knows, that you're interested in this kind of content being accessible to other people. Share, do all the little things that I know you guys are already out there doing, but continue to do so that we can get it out to more people so they can benefit from this kind of information. Once again, it's legally everywhere. Well, we what, child? We looking into everything. Can't say I didn't come with them receipts, as the youth say. What? And I'll see you in the next video. Next time.